All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with
my proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tours Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 75th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I'm your host, Kyron Silva from Tours Comics. Across the way is the I'm gonna mess this up. Across the way is the creador. Damn it.
Come on now.
Across the way is the creador, morador de Ace Blade, Danny J. Quick, and together we're your two Lord comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We're live on the Age of Geekdom Network via Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're listening and watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and review this podcast. And if you want to support the podcast financially, you can go to our website, fourtalespodcast.com, buy some merchandise that's there, buy a coffee, help us out anyway, because, we do this for free. We love you guys, but we want to get paid to do this eventually. So, yeah, that's it. Danny, How you doing?
I'm good, man. I like the attempt at Spanish. Was that Spanish?
That was Spanish. 3 years of Spanish I took in high school, and I messed up on that.
Don't you speak like fluent
no
Hmong or something like that right now?
No.
I thought you did.
No. When did I ever say that?
I thought you. Well, I know I know you have some diversity in your home, so I thought you.
The only time she speaks Hmong to me is when she's mad at me.
Oh yeah. So you only know the bad words, like
yeah.
Exactly. Hey, that's usually how it goes. You learn the bad words first, and then you get everything else.
Yeah. So what's new with you?
Man, I've been so busy with just life, man. It's good to sit down and talk to you, man. I'm sorry I missed last week's episode with the brethren Fish Lee, but y'all did good, man. And I see that you got a variant cover out of it, so I love it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm taking credit. I'm taking
I don't
credit.
know what you're talking about. Don't try to take my. What do you mean variant cover? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know I'll spill the beans. You know I'll do it. I will spill the beans.
This is why I should never tell you anything.
You better be glad you better be glad I didn't post it, because I was going to. I was going to post it last night. Like immediately after you sent it to me, I was like, "Oh, I need to show somebody this." The whole world, public, Facebook post. But no, I like the idea of it, and I'm glad that well, I won't say much about it, but I think people will like it when they get it.
All right. Well, Mr. Fish Comics is in the building. He's in the chat with us, so thank you. I knew when you said you weren't going to come on, I felt comfortable enough because Fish can talk. Like, I don't really need to talk that much. I just need to give him a little bit of a line, and then he just goes from there. So I was fine. I knew what was going to happen.
Fish is absolutely a true showman. Put him on any show, anywhere, and he can make it work. And he's the man. Like again, Fish. I'm sorry. I couldn't make it. I'd set up with Morgan. Morgan was supposed to be here in my stead, but he's got that T-Mobile network. Well, not even T-Mobile. T-Mobile is good now. He got what's a bad one? He got that Cricket internet.
And apparently, just looking at our guests, it might be Xfinity, dude.
You might have that Comcast. You might have that Comcast too. But that's all right. We're gonna make it work. I enjoy it. I actually want to bring our guests, but I think we should start doing. We've been talking about what comics books we've been reading. I think we should start to let our guests do that too. So if we, sometime in the near future, whenever we have guests come on, ask them what comic books they've been they've been reading. So
that be the first thing we ask them when we get a guest. That should be the first thing we ask them. Tony Clapper in the chat says, "Oh, finally, Danny's better show." Wow.
Hey, him. I don't know if you saw the last time we were live on Top 5 Live. He and the other two hosts. Me and Tony ain't got no beef. I ain't got no beef with Tony.
I don't think you have beef with anybody, honestly.
They were they were flaming each other. Tony, I invited Tony to come on, but they were just going back and forth. He was trying to protect Fee. Fee was our guest on the show, and they were definitely hard on him. So it was kind of fun. But me, I'm just here for peace and jokes and to have fun. And I respect Tony and I love his content. He's like a digital brother to me. So I wouldn't I wouldn't go in.
You are like the comic version of White Man Can't Jump. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. That'll work.
Facebook user, I don't know which Facebook user that is, but good morning to you also.
Good morning.
I mean, I'm always honest. We're sort of stalling for time. Our guest is having internet connections, so I'm a little worried to bring him on. Honestly,
bring him on. Let's just see how it goes, man. You got an intro for him, or you want me to do it?
No, I thought you had an intro for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Don't steal my intro, dude.
Foretales Podcast in collaboration with no. And I still did it wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, the hand demon, they call him. This man has.
God, I hope that's not for a porno reference.
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I only know him from TikTok. This man draws with no references. He goes straight to inks with his art. He doesn't even do layouts. The man can draw a hand better than your favorite artist right now.
Even better than any AI out there.
And better than any AI out there. Ledneto is in the building. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello, gentlemen. I have switched from my iPad to my phone.
Okay.
So apologies for technical difficulties. Can you guys hear me now and see me in the whole nine?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you, everything.
Perfect. It's going to be a fun phone call with Xfinity after this. So no plugs. Danny, thank you.
There goes our sponsorship with Xfinity at this point.
Was that the sponsorship this week?
Yeah, that was our sponsor this week.
Not even a little bit.
Xfinity rocks, Just beep it out every time I say it, okay?
I'll clean that up in edits.
Thank you for the intro. But Danny, I want to stand correct. I still use a reference here and there. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, okay? Don't push it. I'm gonna be at cons drawing, and people are gonna be like, I heard there was no reference. I can't remember all the characters, man.
I'm putting you all out there. He knows all the characters by memory. He knows all your OCs by memory.
The sell is better than the product. I'll tell you that much. Jeez.
So, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for the intro.
I don't know if you heard what me and Kyron were just talking about, but we kind of want to start with what comic books we've been reading. So we now that we got you on, I'll talk about what comics I've been reading. Kyron will go and then we'll ask you. So
yep.
For me, I am finally catching up on this one right here. I found this at Acme Comics a couple of weeks ago. I just want to say I bought it at Free Comic Book Day. I bought all the issues. I want to say it's 12 issues. I think it's 12 issue run. Mm-hmm. And I had all the individuals, but I was only read up to 6 at the time. Mm-hmm. So I saw the trade and I was like, let me get this. I know my 2 oldest daughters would probably enjoy it too. So started reading it again and I'm like, yo, this is actually really good. I actually N.K. Jemisin is the author of this Far Sector run, and I actually downloaded her novels too. She has a novel series, the Inheritance trilogy. So I'm gonna read her work too because I've heard of her before Far Sector, but Far Sector was my first time actually reading any of her work, and it's good. She's just a great writer, so I'm definitely checking her out. Kyron, what you been reading?
Well, I've read two things this week. I've read Steel Wolf by Eric Bennett. It's actually Steel Wolf and Stray, and I can't remember. Is it Vito Desalante? Is that his name?
Vito, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little team up. It's nice to see collaborators that like each other and maybe hang out with each other and talk with each other. They collaborate to make one book. They bring their characters together to make some type of crossover, especially when they're good friends. They work together, especially when one's like a super powered one, the other one's a street level character. It's nice to have them come together in a Batman Superman type mold.
Yeah, I would never do anything like that, but
yeah, I know.
No, I've been seeing more and more of that lately. I think we had Chris Thomasma on, and he and Spider Squirrel's creator. What is his name?
Charlie McKelvey.
Charlie McKelvey. Worked on a book together. I think could definitely be in the
Miss Makeshift. Was in that or?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Miss Makeshift is also in that. So I think that's definitely something that people should do.
Especially when they're characters from different companies and if you want to see them together.
Yeah. I love it.
The other thing I read was Stone, which is by Will Portatio. It's a reprint of a book that he made from the early 2000s. But this was all bundled together in one book, and it was a fun book. It's cool to just go back and look at some of those old comics just to see what they're like back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've been into. Ledneto, what have you been reading this week?
This week, it's kind of the same start as last week. I recently became a father, so it's like whatever time I have is to draw, and I got a full-time job as well. But I picked up probably like about a week ago the Tokyo Ghost series with Sean Murphy. To any artists out there, if you want to feel like you should amp up your artwork to a degree, that's something. I mean, visually, it's absolutely beautiful. I saw his first time I saw him was on a Batman run, and he's still working on the Batman run. I mean, beautiful stuff. But that's basically what I've been starting on for the most part lately. I mean, I bought the book. My editor bought the book. I copied off of him after I saw the guts of it. I was like, yo, man, I got to get this same book. And now we got the same dang one. Beautiful artwork. But yeah, that's definitely one I would. He writes and draws it, which is respect metric there. And I love.
Yeah, Sean is that Batman run. I don't want to say he did the White Knight run. I think he was
doing that one too.
Yeah, but yeah, great art, absolutely.
And I do have to comment on what PJ said. Congrats on the baby. Danny and I are both fathers, so we understand how that can be hard to create comics and read while dealing with family.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You guys have kids? I know Danny does, but
I got 3 kids.
Several.
Yeah, we all got like 3, 4, 5.
Is this your first? Is this your first one?
Oh, it's my rookie season. Yeah,
you gotta catch up, man. Come on, you gotta get the 3 and 4. Come on now.
No, don't try to force him to have more kids. Don't try to force him to have more kids.
I'll check with my wife. I don't think we'll keep one for now. So.
All right. So for those in the audience who might not know who you are, give us a quick backstory on you, man. Where you came from, how you got into art, your love for comics, and what you're working on now.
So my name is Demir. I go by Ledneto. I've been an artist for over 12 plus years. And that includes a hiatus of 10 years of art to make sure I get life in order and all this. I've loved comic books since I was a kid. The Amazing Spider-Man series, Batman, the animated series, all this stuff got me inspired into actual superhero stuff. And then I fell in love with Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man run, as well as Jim Lee's X-Men run. That's what got me into comics. I wanted to be a comic book artist when I was about 18 years old officially, and But then, to be completely honest with you, the things that deterred me were like, price of schools and things like that. And I think we can all relate to that. And something we could discuss about a little bit later, that one of the big two got me into comics by some of those references, and they also got me out of comics because of like continuity and things like that. And that's kind of what separated me. And then back in 2018, I started drawing again. I got popular quickly on TikTok as well, because for the last 2.5 years, I've been drawing fully in ink, so no pencil sketch, none of that jazz. And then about a year ago, I said, you know what? There's this story that's been lingering in the back of my mind called the Unlimited Ink, and since about 2016 or so, and I decided, you know what? Let's have that run and being a comic book artist. Now my book is wrapping up, at least to that section, and it's going to be on Kickstarter May 30th. So yeah, lots of experience in art, lots of fun tricks and all that, and yeah, trying to make a dream come true after 20 something years. So
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
PJ just said what was in my brain. He said he followed you on TikTok for over a year, and he didn't know that you had another name other than Ledneto. And and I think the first time I heard your real name was like last week. And I've been following.
Yeah.
I've been following you for a long time too. So absolutely.
Yeah, I try not to spring it around. I'm like Mobius when it comes to that. I just go. I'm trying to be like Prince, just go by Ledneto.
Yeah.
But my friends call me Demir also.
So can we expect next year we're not going to call you Ledneto? It's just going to be the symbol of Ledneto. Is that what's going on?
I would like that. Once you go through once you find out how much trademarking and copywriting is, you want everybody just to know by the symbol. You know what I mean? That's really what it is.
Well,
Definitely.
let's talk about your comic, The Unlimited Ink. I'm looking at the launch page on Kickstarter right now. It says Unlimited Ink #1, Chicago's favorite crime-fighting duo. Give us a backstory on what this is all about.
Basically, I mean, without spoiling too much of it, which I've been keeping as private as possible up to this point, it's basically a gentleman with a dark past and a war hero who is currently a superhero, and he's trying to recruit this gentleman with a very dark past to be his, to take on the reins of the new mantle of protecting the city, because this war hero happens to be a very old man now. So you can't keep fighting crime until, you know what I mean, you're way too old. The tricky part about it is, if you can see by that little banner, he's trying to also recruit him to be the partner of his old, as you can see, the cute little character there, his old sidekick. And that's where like the fun and everything begins. The comic book itself is very near and dear to me, because the cool thing about it is all three of these main characters, the character you don't see on that screen, as well as these two, they are the embodiment. One embodies depression, one embodies anxiety, and one embodies living in the moment. So by the cuteness alone, you might be able to tell which one does what. So that's basically what the Unlimited Ink is about.
Now, when are you expecting to launch this campaign?
May 30th. So what is today? The 29th, 27th, something like that?
Yep, 3 days.
Yep, 3 days. We're going to try to get as much of it. I worked really hard on that Kickstarter.
What's your
I really did.
What's your funding goal? What are you trying to raise on it?
I'm trying to raise $6,000, because to be completely honest with you, once you look at the prices and inflation and everything, just to even get a print run of $500 is costing you more, you know what I mean, than it ever did before. So I'm going through jumping a bunch of hoops to figure out all that, as well as I have some major big plans in the horizon for it. So we got to get at least the $6,000 goal. And I feel like that's fair for a debut comic book. 32 pages front and back, so 64 pages worth of content.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so I wasn't lazy with it. It's definitely a cool, fun book that I genuinely want to be like the next, Invincible or something like that. And I'm really confident that it can be, if we can get to that.
I know on your TikTok you talk about putting out content. I want to say one of your viral TikToks was, oh, so you want to put out a comic book that looks just as good as the professional ones.
Yeah.
And I know you pride yourself in your craft, and I love the art, man. I've been, like I said, I've been following for a while. You did an Ace Blade piece for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm always looking for great artists.
Why does everybody do? No, never mind.
Don't worry. Hey, don't worry. The check for it is coming on my birthday. Okay.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay. You got to pay artists, is what you're telling me. Oh, damn.
don't worry. I'll get paid on mine.
Don't be jealous, Kyron. Come on now.
I'm always jealous. I live in jealousy, damn it.
So, man, I know that the guts of the book is gonna look great. How much of the book are you gonna show once the page actually opens up? Like, how are you gonna have pages on it? Are you gonna do like breakdowns of the creation process, or what?
I may do. I have a couple plans on showing the creation process. The Kickstarter, I mean, when the actual page launches, I feel like people will definitely get the vibe of what this book is and who I am, because unlike the standard Kickstarter, you know what I mean, like the story and the way that the page is broken down, what I did is I made it all from scratch. So like every single thing you're going to see, like just this quick example, it's like the rewards tiers are buildings and all that kind of stuff, like they're drawn in that way. So you're going to see that this is based strictly off of my style, and there's a lot of comedy in just the Kickstarter alone. And even though this book, you know, is going to deal with things like anxiety, depression, and trying to live in the moment, it's truly also an action comedy. So one with that little cute character's named Tone. So my elevator pitch for it really is, you know, imagine the personification of anxiety and depression with a very dark tone, and that's the dark tone, you know. So I think people will really be able to fall in love with. There's some page stuff in there for sure for people to see, but I'm trying to keep all the real nitty gritty still in the book so people can buy it, you know.
Okay.
So
How much of the book are you working on? Like, are you the writer, the artist? Are you the letterer? Like,
all of the above except the editor. So yeah, that's why it's honestly taken me this long to actually push it out. I think Danny knows already. I pride myself in the reason the hand demon wasn't necessarily just only for hands. It's like that ability to grab a piece of paper and draw right from scratch from whatever. So I can draw very fast. I have a bunch of timed videos on my page and all, but it took a year, and I think you guys can relate to this, just to figure out everything again, like the composition. Standalone splash page may take you longer to draw, like in one sitting, but getting composition to get to that splash page and forward and tell a cohesive story is really the like learning curve again. And I had to retrain my mind into thinking of everything as a progressive story. So I'm doing the writing, I'm the creator, the writer, the author, the letterer, the whole nine. And then Todd Beats is my editor for this book. He helped out at the beginning until I found my groove, and then he kind of let me just take on from there.
I love it. You know, I just thought I might know the top 5 fastest artists in the indie space right now. Like, I think I might have to put together a top 5 list. We got Ledneto, we got Kyron, we got Fish, we got my man Wally, and we got Michael Watson. Like, I think y'all are probably the top 5 fastest artists that in the indie space, man, because y'all put out good work and you do it quickly. And that's
Yeah.
that's a
I was
talent.
sort of thinking the same thing. I was thinking actually, because Fish is in the chat, I was thinking we should get some way we get Ledneto and Fish do like an art battle, see who does it the best at the fastest time type of deal. I don't know, man. That could be something.
Or an art tutorial, like a speed tutorial or something like that to show, you know, the thought process of like how you have to see what's on the page already. Like that was my biggest hurdle. I draw like a sculptor. Like I can't even see what I'm drawing until I start drawing it. So that's one of my hugest hurdles when it came to trying to learn to draw and things like that. Is I literally have to sketch out the lines, and then once I actually see what I'm drawing, I
Yeah.
can kind of build on that, and it's terrible for me. But I'm
You're now
already
admitting that you have been practicing drawing, and that probably by Ace Blade 9, you'll be drawing the entire book yourself. You'll be like, I've finally done that. I've written, drawn, colored, and lettered the entire Ace Blade book.
it won't be Ace Blade. I won't embarrass Ace Blade like that, but but maybe some other character that I come up with. Oh, for sure.
You'll see the process. It's really like doing all of that. I don't know how long I'll be able to do all of it. You know what I mean? But for sure, the art style and everything is 100%. I want it to be Ledneto authentic. So I feel you, Danny. I definitely do. And in regards to a speed run, you won't believe it until you see it. You know, so it definitely be fun. The most impressive I've seen with that speed run, you guys had Ryan Benjamin on there, who was a hero of mine. So he said he did like 100 in a day or something like this. You know what's funny? That I still have the image like competitive mentality that Image Comics artists had in them, as somebody who grew up with that kind of stuff. So I'm telling you, as soon as he said 100 and something, I literally, and this is Ryan Benjamin, I was like, I think I could try. I think we could try. You know what I mean? So,
might be
so
I might be
it won't be as good.
He said,
good.
Michael Jordan said he did 2 3-peats. Man, I can do 3 3-peats.
Yeah, like,
I don't know how good I am, but that's good, man. It's good to have that competitive, mindset in anything. That's one of those things that I that I don't have, that I wish I did. Like I'm all about having fun.
Morgan next to you. Morgan has that competitive edge for you.
That's exactly why Morgan is always down with me, man. Like I have a balance, and I'm like, if I know that somebody's better than me at something, I'm not even going. I can joke around with you and play and stuff like that, but I wouldn't even set myself up for that disappointment, because I might go into a legit depression getting beat by some of y'all talented artists out there, man. So. But I love it, man. You gotta be able to push yourself and to continue to get better by any means necessary.
Yeah, no, for sure, Danny. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know why you don't have a little bit more of it. I mean, you got a book out. I've got your books right here myself. I mean, I don't know if I can swear on here, but talk your ass. Oh, okay, talk your shit then. Okay, so I mean, I'm big on that kind of stuff. Like it's funny. There's an arrogance that comes with being confident, that people think that it's like all negative. It's not. You're not going to get anywhere unless you are confident, especially in your art and your craft. I mean, I think anybody who grew up in like the 80s, 90s, 70s, anything like this, I don't know why somebody would not think that, like, you find that other kid in school that could draw just like you or whatnot, and then you see his art. If your first thought isn't, oh, that's good, it ain't better than mine though. Like, if that's not your first thought, I don't know, like, if you really have that drive. I've never taken anyone giving me a compliment as a thing to like boost my ego. Someone saying great art or anything, I will always say thank you for my whole life, because that's how it is. We all got 100 things we need to improve on and get better as artists. Millions of things. My favorite artist is Kim Jong-gi. I mean, I told my wife, I am only a fish in the pond that this guy is like around drawing it. That's how I always view I am light years away from being that good. But that does not mean that if you catch me on my day and we're talking about my art style and the way that I draw, that I'm not trying to put my foot in something. You know what I mean? So you should have the same confidence when it comes to your books, man. Ace Blade is great. Like, you have done this far, man. I don't want it to sound cheesy or anything, but
I appreciate it. And I do, you know, I have a little bit, you know, when it comes to certain things, I do like if I know I've worked hard at something, you know, there's certain things that I'm like, I need to, you know, I gotta show them. I gotta, you know, but when it comes to art specifically, I would never. I would never. So man, I love it, man. I love the story. I love the drive, man. What you know, there's a thing that I ask some people also, especially, you know, people who've been doing it for a while. For those, you know, we got a lot of creators in our audience. And I know we both have a lot of followers on TikTok that want to get into making comic books and things like that. What is the thing that made you finally, you know, instead of thinking about it, instead of it being in your brain, now I need to put it on paper? Like, how did you jump that hurdle? Was it just having the time to do it? Was it, you know, just the opportunity? What was it that clicked over in your head to say, yo, I've been thinking about this project, now I need to do it?
For the Unlimited Ink, especially, honestly, that's kind of maybe where we could segue back to the thing that I was saying. I'm not going to say which one of the big two, but you can probably guess. Basically, I loved comics when I was a kid, and the continuity and the fact that I had to every single time. Here's the best example. If you go watch a movie right now, a superhero movie, and you want to get into it, what's the very first thing that happens? You get into comics and you don't know where to start. You know, you truly don't know where to start. If you try and read the run of the movie you just watched, it's completely different in the comics, you know, where with anime and manga and things like this, you end up in this where you can actually answer a question like, you know, who's Spider-Man's first girlfriend or whatever. Someone will go Mary Jane, and then it's Gwen Stacy before her, then it's somebody before her. And it's like, you don't have anything. So you need all this backup knowledge. And that's what actually, like, when I was 18, 19, that's what took me out of comics. Like, I literally just could not figure out who's this guy? And I have to like read a little thumbnail that says read this edition so you can find out who this guy is. And it just became like such a thing where I was like, could I be able to do this? So back in 2018 or so, when I got back into art, and that was just off of genuinely Kim Jong-gi, I started seeing his art on Instagram and stuff like this, and it was getting me to push. And I started putting the pen down and everything. And thank God for my wife, because she said she bought me an iPad for my birthday, which is, you know, we're not rich or anything. That's a very expensive gift right there. And she said, you know, pursue your dream again. And I love my wife to that. And she got me this iPad, and I started from there. I started making logos and things. And I did that as like a side income. So back around like maybe, and around that time while I was at work, I still had these characters kind of in my, as I'm dabbling with them, like even before I got back into art in 2018, I've been like doodling these during meetings. And pretty much around like last year, midway last year or something like this, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to tell a story where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Where you get a couple of things like in anime, where you get a couple like almost not canon things that happen. Like one adventure where they meet another, like let's just say my characters meet Ace Blade for one edition or a 4 edition run, but it doesn't change the storyline. So I kind of had this baseline idea of just keeping an actual timeline from A to Z, and then just doing a couple spin-offs here and there if need be, but finishing a comic book where somebody can actually ask the question of who's this guy's girlfriend? How did he get his powers? Where did this happen? How did that happen? And actually be able to tell them, like One Piece or all of these other, you know what I mean, anime that I love, like My Hero Academia, where you could actually do it from that. So that's kind of what clicked. It's just that once that clicked in for me, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm back to following the dream that I had when I was younger, which is be a comic book artist. And that's how so
we've been having that conversation. I want to say the last 2 or 3 guests that we've had, we've been having that conversation about how how hard it is for, because I got teenage daughters. They read manga. They love anime. And every time I try to get them into comics, there's that barrier. I'm taking them with me to the comic book stores. I'm doing all the things to try to get them around the people that love comic books. But like you said, I don't know if it's just they've seen the Spider-Verse movies. They've seen all the the Marvel movies and the DC movies, and they're like, if I read it, it's not gonna be the same story, So now when I take them to comic book stores, they're picking up indie stuff. They're picking up image books. They're picking up stuff that they never heard anything about before. So I agree with you. There's definitely a barrier or a hurdle there with the big two, mostly. Even with like longer stories, like I think Spawn and Invincible are kind of like the exceptions there, but they, because they're a continuous story that they're super long continuous stories, but they are, a continuous story. And I think, maybe that's why Spawn is having a resurgence right now and Invincible is having a resurgence right now, is because you can jump in from book one and read all the way to the end. So I think our indie community is the answer for that. To be honest with you, there's a lot of these stories. It's not a Aware Spider. Freestyle Comics has Hot Shot and Vigilance, and these longer stories. There's this great story that I heard about called Shaman's Destiny, and I wish I had the chance to read it because I keep hearing it's really good, but
I heard you could read it at touristcomics.com. It's available on full volume, my understanding. That's why I heard.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get around to reading it someday. And
okay. I heard it's a physical and digital option there. I don't know. Yeah, all 6 issues. That's weird.
There's the indie spaces is full of these stories that you can just jump in. Like right now, you can just jump in with issue number 1, and then you can literally read them as they come out. So I think you're right about that for sure.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about indie books itself. I wish that I would have gave indies, even though I loved Image, I loved the creations in there. Spawn, like you said, was one of the only superhero books that had that. But Spawn was very dialogue heavy.
Yeah,
I think you guys remember. So I'm running into this issue myself a lot of the times of trying to tell a story, but not necessarily overkill the readers without as much action and I just guess I couldn't relate as much to just how cool they looked and all this. That's why I'm so happy that Invincible came out and all this. But I think Invincible, when did it come out? In
like 2003? I think.
Was it I thought it was the late 90s. Is it?
No.
Was it the 2000s that Invincible started?
The Invincible. I think it started in 2003 or 2008, one of those, or 11 actually. It's been around for
January 2003 was it first came out.
By then I ain't never even heard of it, and you see, that's I feel like is the biggest problem that caused me to like get out of comics. Imagine, I believe the New 52 started in 2012, okay, for Marvel. And I was in high school and graduating high school in 2008. So mind you, that period before I could get into the stories again and start from the beginning didn't happen until after I was already kind of checked out. And I think that really was a contributor to why it was like I stopped that. If the New 52 came out in 2008 or 7 when I was still in my drawing phase, I still would have been pushed. Like, I can read the stories again and understand the continuity in everybody's story from beginning to whatever, to the point that we're at now. And it's like, I could have done that then, but it didn't come out. I feel like I'm a unique case of artists that literally stopped because there was a gap in the fulfillment of the need that they actually wanted, which was to be able to tell the story like from the beginning all the way through, so
yeah, hey, I'm down with it. I think it's what just popped into my head too is that it's So Batman and I think the big two just have a problem that they know that they can make money with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They know that these stories are gonna sell and they can keep, the company afloat. The companies need to make money, sure. But for 70 years, for them to put out new versions of Batman and new, Superman is now he's kryptonite makes him strong, like every they just know that they can make the money with these properties, so they keep putting out more and more stories, and now we're at the point where it's kind of overkill. So like I was saying with Far Sector is a Green Lantern book, but because it's so disconnected from all the other Green Lantern stories, it kind of gives it a fresh, it's literally 12 books from beginning to end. And now Sojourner Mullen is, she's weaving in with the other, Justice League stories and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to see her if she shows up in all these events or whatever. But her story is this one right here. So I think they're trying to learn and trying to adjust, but it might be too late for us 30 plusers. it might be too late. I think I'm an indie guy for sure. Yeah. So
And I wanted to ask you guys, does that bring any fear to you guys? Because like with so many different writers, so many different artists, I think you guys can relate to this. It's like you have a different mindset, like the current Spider-Man run, without saying anybody's artists or writers names or whatever. I'm really mad with this run, and I'm just sitting there going, this is what's like losing the fans. And I understand that they want to push to sell units and all this, but now you got a Fast and Furious franchise happening for you, where you just don't want to call it quits. And then you're sitting there with this issue of like, okay, you have fans who adore this stuff that are now losing interest in it. And that's scary. That's where the manga and anime industry is kind of where I feel like they're winning in that concept as well, because it's usually one artist and one writer, and he is having a hard time handing the reins to anybody else after, unfortunately, until after they pass, usually is the case where the reins get passed. But it's like here we're so quick to hand over somebody else to write the stories, and I'm trying not to do that myself, but I have to learn to be as good of a writer as I am that I feel I am as an artist. So it's like that combination. But yeah, it's
again.
I mean, I think it feels if it's going to sell and make money as a creator, we have to accept that, like you said, there are going to be people that are better than what we do. So we find a group that's better at telling our story, and we know it's going to make us money. I don't fear that. My fear is getting to a point where no one is interested in my book at all, no matter who's on it. That's my fear. Is my character not going to be sustainable long run and not something that people want to look for? That's my biggest fear. I don't care who writes or draws it, as long as my character people want to see, I'm happy with that.
I like that. That's something I'll take away from it also. I agree with that. But can they, and it really has to, I think, as creators, whoever's reading your project, working on your project, I think at least one thing we all should be, it shouldn't be about the name. It should truly be about who's actually interested in your project. Because we could pay anyone to help with our projects, but are they going to love this thing like you will? And that's how you'll know somebody will write the story like to your character how you would want, So definitely taking what you're saying, very true. I just hope that like with our characters, whoever gets on board as an artist or a writer of a certain story or anything, I want that person to actually love the series that they're working on. That's what's going to make it successful. And that's what I think the fans will be able to genuinely tell. And that's why I feel like some of the comics that I read now from the mainstream, outside of indie, obviously, is that issue is I'm like, do you really love this character, man? You're just writing it for the check. And I feel like you probably shouldn't have done it that way, because Now you're deterring the fans, and they're seeing the visibility that you kind of don't care. It's only about the bottom line. So.
Man, 100%. I'm right with you. Man, this was good, man. So, if you've been watching our show, you know what time it is, man. You know it is time for quick takes. Quick takes is a rapid fire Q&A section with our guest, and I've been stalking your social medias, of course. So I know you got some opinions on things. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, and you get 45 seconds each to answer each one. Kyron, are you ready?
Yep.
All right.
Quick takes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing your pose. All right. Ledneto, quick takes. So, question number 1. In 45 seconds, I saw that you did a video explaining a concept that revolves around silhouettes and how you draw. So, explain the silhouette concept. 45 seconds.
Okay, so the silhouette concept is, my personal opinion, is you can tell what everything is by just the silhouette alone. You can tell how a cup looks by just the silhouette alone. You can tell somebody's form. Like, you could tell my hand is up or down by just the silhouette itself. One thing is, a self-taught artist, I have learned is that I draw with something called the outline inline method, where my goal is initially to draw from the outline first and then add detail, because I feel like more artists waste time on the stuff with all the detail just to find out that the anatomy or the form isn't correct. So that's why the silhouette is very important. If you can tell what's happening in the silhouette, then you can actually add the detail afterwards. Peace.
Right on the dot. I love it. It is clutch like LeBron right there. All right.
LeBron was not clutch this year, though.
He was clutch for most of the year. Stop it. Question number 2. So, is this your first Kickstarter, Led?
Yes, it is.
First Kickstarter. Okay, so with this being your first Kickstarter, I know my first Kickstarters were a pain in the neck. It's still a pain in the neck right now, but there's also some great things about Kickstarter. So I want you to tell us in 45 seconds what are the best things about Kickstarter and what are the worst things about Kickstarter so far.
All right, I can tell you the best is the audience that you're able to get through. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are looking to make a project and be able to like show it to the masses. Now the hard part about that is actually collecting these bodies. But I believe if you're unique enough and work hard enough, that will show. So that's my goal. The toughest things I don't like is, honestly, I lost an entire week just trying to get everything verified, and the process behind that, the bit behind the scenes stuff, and trying to be creative and unique on all of that stuff is fun, but it's definitely going to, like, it's a toss up between trying to figure out, am I doing this right, or is it like, you know, do I need to do a couple before you get really good?
Yeah. Yeah.
He has this timed out already in his head, 45 seconds. He knows.
He's got it. He's
He's already formulated the answer.
No.
Oh, okay. So, all right, this one, I'm just going to let you rant for a minute. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm just going to let you go for 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. Question number 3. Is AI art considered stealing?
In my opinion, it depends if your prompt is actually putting in any other artist's work, because my personal philosophy on that is, if you ask the artist and the art style, if you ask the actual artist, do you think it's cool that I use your art as like the prompt for it? I guarantee you none of them will say yes. Cultivating an art style is very important and something unique to yourself from all of the inspirations that you've had, and now it's an easy way for somebody to just be able to jump in and prompt the artwork that way. I think that AI in the future is going to be something that only artists use, because as you can see from AI and how it looks right now and the limitations, I personally believe that artists are going to be the only ones using it because you have to be able to fix it.
You still got to know the tools. Definitely got to know the tools. Okay. So question number 4. Some of your biggest videos on TikTok recently have been these art critiques that you've been doing. So I'm going to give you 45 seconds to give an art critique of yourself.
Ready? Honestly, I need to work on more backgrounds. Okay. I mean, just because you're critiquing somebody else doesn't mean that your art is perfect. I used to draw a lot more female characters in the band on TikTok enough times for it. It wasn't that it's just the audience is like that sometimes. So I need to draw more female characters. I actually like my art style, so I'm not going to critique my art style. But the thing is, though, is I got to post more artwork of things that everybody else likes as well. I know you guys like a lot of superhero stuff and everything, so and anime stuff, so I just got to post a little bit more of that. I'm kind of secure, and then when I'm done with it, I post it. So give the people more of what they want.
Gotta give the people what they want. Absolutely. Okay. So this is gonna be a tough one, especially for you. I know I know who your number 1 is gonna be, but I have another show called Top 5 Live where we do a top 5 list every week. So I'm gonna ask you to do a top 5 list, and I want to hear off the top of your head your top 5 comic book artists of all time. They don't have to be in any particular order if you don't want to.
Okay. Todd McFarlane, because he inspired me so much to my art style. Jim Lee, because everything about his artwork is amazing. Akira Toriyama, I have to use manga because Dragon Ball Z is a huge inspiration of mine as a kid. It will be Mike Mignola's because of Hellboy is incredible. And then and also Yusuke Murata, because come on now. So there you go. There's 2 manga and 3 comic books. Is that fair?
I like it. I'm down with it. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay.
It's I think we all know that it will change tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now. It always changes. So it's like, that's just how it is. That's today's.
Oh, absolutely. PJ said you practiced all of that. You did great, man. This is a great top 5. A great quick take, and we appreciate you. This week's quick take brought to you by Infinity. Your internet awaits. Your better internet awaits. Was it Xfinity? What is the name of the company? Xfinity.
Xfinity, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been fun, Ledneto.
Don't come at me, man. Don't come at me. I'm mad about this thing or not. I feel a little bit embarrassed because I stepped it up to get better internet just to be able to do this, and then I'm like, man.
No, it's great, man. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't bad at all, man. We did. If you've seen some of our past interviews, we've had some bad ones. Definitely had some.
I'm always the IT one, always the guy who has a problem with the IT thing. So I'm really happy that didn't happen. As long.
Thank you so much for coming on with us, man. I wish you all the luck with the Kickstarter. Of course, I'll be sharing. I'll be telling people about it. You launch before ours is over, so we'll do an update and tell people about it in our Kickstarter for sure. Man, it's just great to have you. Can you tell people where they can find you online?
Online, and probably all the social medias at Ledneto. That name itself, or the Unlimited Ink. I would love for those social medias to grow a little bit as well, but I'll try to post more on Instagram. I know I need to get that following up and all this, but at Ledneto and at the Unlimited Ink on both TikTok and Instagram, as well as Ledneto on YouTube. I'll try to post on there a little bit more, but mostly everything just for right now. Go to TikTok, link in the bio, and click that Kickstarter, and let's get the Unlimited Ink to that #1 spot.
That's right. That's right. For me, the best place to find me is www.fourthwallpros.com. Also on social media at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you?
You can find me at tauruscomics.com. I am also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Taurus Comics. Yeah,
Tumblr?
I stopped using Tumblr.
What? You retired the Tumblr?
I retired Tumblr. Nobody's using it, and Instagram wouldn't connect to it anymore. So I was like, "What's the point? I'm not going to download Tumblr."
Okay.
Yeah.
No Tumblr.
But if this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can go to our website, fourtailspodcast.com. You can actually check out our previous episodes. Like we said earlier, buy us some merchandise, support us financially by buying us a coffee. But definitely join us again next week, same bat time at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, if you're on the East Coast, which I'm not. But join us next week. We'll have another great show. But until then, sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourself. I was going to wait for you guys to do it.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.